Lance McCullers
Thank
Jr.
you. And tonight you guys are up 1-0. Verlander's going, and you weren't able to break through in the fifth inning when you had men on the second and third with no outs.
Right. Yeah, no, the fifth inning, the sixth inning, seventh inning, we had pressure on them, and they just made pitches or made plays or, obviously got out of some jams. So, obviously small margin here in this game and these two teams, and obviously credit to them, and we wish we would have had a little bit of a breakout. I thought Marwin in the sixth had a line drive, at least playing right up the middle. Obviously two-base play was close, first and third, and they navigated around the bottom of the order with the pitcher. So, tough to not tacking on a few runs.
To your left, AJ. Andrew.
AJ, I have two questions. Just first off, what do you think of Justin's performance?
I thought he was good, especially early. He brings so much energy and so much, aggressiveness to the game, and I thought he entered the game with that. I thought he was, obviously cruising. He had the one hiccup in the middle of the game, but that was about it. They did a good job putting some at-bats together. They got some big hits. Obviously, the elevated fastball to Taylor at one of the biggest moments of the game. So, again, I thought he stepped up and put as much into that game as he could.
And what was your thinking when you pitched it for him?
Well, we're down. We have 9 outs left, and we're down. So no more complicated than that.
Joel.
AJ, obviously you want to win tonight, but does it almost feel like this series was destined to go the distance and how close the two teams have played?
Well, now it does. Now it feels like we need to play 7. I'm glad the series isn't over in their favor. So, but this series has been back and forth, and two incredible teams trying to get to the finish line, and so now obviously it's good for our sport. Necessarily bad for us because we wanted to win tonight, but we'll get back to the hotel. We'll recollect ourselves. Both teams will be ready to play with about as much energy as you could possibly imagine. Game 7.
If I could just, will you think Verlander will be available for you tomorrow?
I think it's Game 7. The last game of the season. So we'll evaluate everything. So it would take a big effort, but you never know.
I'll stay right there in the third row.
AJ, you mentioned navigating around the bottom of the order with a pitcher. Do you think the National League element played a role tonight?
Well, I wasn't going to hit Verlander in the American League Park, so I think that spot, it's the National League style, and obviously the way they could pitch Reddick after falling behind, and they had an open base. They obviously could attack our pitcher. We're not going to hit there, so it's very much the difference because they're facing Beltran or Gaddis as opposed to the pitcher in some part of that order, whether it was the beginning of that inning or the end of that inning.
In the third row on your right, Anthony.
Just to follow up on Verlander's availability, what is your sense of just how much you can get from your other starting pitchers behind McCullers tomorrow? And also, in the loss tonight, you didn't really use the back-end relievers. What sort of luxury is that?
Well, again, to reiterate, it's Game 7. That's the obvious part. So I think all of our guys are going to have the adrenaline on their side. They're all going to be ready to pitch. So how we use them, how much we use them, we'll get to the field. They'll do their throwing program. If it's 1 pitch or 100 pitches, I think we're going to have to have all hands on deck.
In the row behind, Richard.
You've had a little trouble scoring on the road, and you think that's their pitching or a little bit of you or both?
Yeah, I don't know. Game 2, we scored quite a few. We had a lot of homers. So I think, again, I think when these moments come and there was a ton of energy in this ballpark and the opportunities, we created opportunities, but the extra hit just didn't come our way. So I think when you lose a close game or a low-scoring game like that, you automatically look at the offensive opportunities you had. We created enough to score more runs, just didn't get the last hit.
Left center towards the back, Kevin.
AJ, you've been great all year getting a message to your team. What's the message when it's Game 7?
Come ready to play. This is the biggest stage, the best stage. Opportunity to win the World Series in Game 7. That was immediately the message when the last out was made.
On your right, AJ, right over here.
AJ, in the middle innings, you had 7 guys left on base in 3 innings in a row. Was that a frustration, or is that look good looking forward to tomorrow that you got the guys on base, or how do you look at that?
Well, I think they vary. When Morrow finds 98 again, that's pretty tough to hit. Bregman hits the ball, ground out to short. I think when Marwin hits the line drive to shortstop, Utley jumps up. It wasn't hit all that hard, but it looked like it was going to get over the infield, and then just they're making pitches, and yeah, it's frustrating. We wanted to score 10, make it really easy on me. That was my hope.
In the third row on your left, AJ.
AJ, your gut feeling versus all the information you have at your disposal, which one do you find yourself leaning on more in a series like this?
I think it's a balance. I mean, I think you have to combine what you see with what you know, and you know, we can go in with all the information that we want. There is an element of paying attention to what your players are doing and how they're playing, and what kind of version are they? Is it a good version of them, or are they struggling mentally, physically? You have to balance it all out and blend it. You know, I wish there was an answer key one way or the other, but again, I think it's a people business. You need to understand your people and then apply the information the best way you can to make decisions, you know, in any part of this.
And Brian right here.
Jay, you guys have already been through 2 elimination games against the Yankees down.
We won them both.
Yep. And you've had a great short-term memory all season. How much does that help you, especially with guys like Altuve, Correa? You know they can bounce back.
You know,
anything.
look, if you carry any baggage into Game 7 of the World Series, then you're certainly misguided with your attention. I mean, we will come as positive as ever, ready to play. It is, you know, what looks to be one of the most exhilarating games that we're ever going to be a part of. I mean, who can guarantee that you're going to be in Game 7 of the World Series ever again? So come ready to play. You have your best attitude, your best opportunity.
And on your right, Joe, last question.
Yeah, you talked about the race within margin. How good a play was that by Bellinger on the Altuve thing? I mean, he almost
Yeah,
had it.
no, the pick's big. You know, like there's you know, obviously there's a lot of key parts of this game that could go one way or the other. In that play, being able to keep his foot on the base, being able to pick the ball, fast runner. You know, there was a lot of action going on. It does cost him a run. So you have to make winnable plays on whether you're the winning team or, you know, or not if you want to win.